they are not satisfied with their religion, and they don't know where to go, and normally that's the direction then they will take. There is nothing, no God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran al-Kareem, in many different ways and forms, He proves the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قالت رسلهم أفي الله شك. All the messengers, when they came and they told people about the existence of Allah, people rejected it. Prophets were very surprised. أفي الله شك. Can there be a doubt about Allah? There was a great scholar, Allama Jisr al-Tabrasi. He wrote a book about Aqeeda, in which he explains very beautifully. He says there are people who don't believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says their example is just like two people walking in a beautiful castle. There is a beautiful castle. They walk into it and they see that the castle inside is so nice, so nicely designed. Beautiful chandeliers, lights in their perfect places and sizes, beautiful carpeting, all kind of furniture, rooms, and there is a swimming pool inside there. There is gym in there. So everything is very well settled in that room, something that you can dream of having the best type of castle in the world. As they both walk into it and they start looking around, one of them says, I wonder who made this. And really, I can understand, someone made it. There has to be someone who made this castle. And the other person says, no, you don't know this. You know, it was by the time, as the time kept on passing, the air, the wind keeps on blowing, and see the mountains that are around here? All the stones from the mountain were getting cut by the wind blowing, and then all of these mountains started getting together here. And finally, over the period of many years, that those rocks from the mountain, as they are getting cut by the wind, and the wind is just blowing and cutting these mountains and cutting these small rocks out of it, and all of these rocks come into the perfect shape of these blocks, and then they come and they start getting onto each other. It's by the wind, by the blow of the wind. And finally it became this castle here. So he asked him, where did all of this furniture come from? Oh, I think I know that too. It must be some travelers stopped somewhere around here and they forgot their belongings, and as the time was passing, the wind kept on blowing this furniture from outside and kept on putting it into these rooms perfectly. Who would go with this? Who would believe in that? Who would say this person is in his mind when he's saying this? This is what people are trying to tell us about this beautiful world. That you know, the sun, moon, stars, they all came into existence by themselves. Who is blowing the wind? Who created the wind? Who made the wind blow if it really happened by the wind? So, of course, that is something where no one can buy this concept and this ideology of no God at all. So existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is must to believe in. This is the first part of Aqidah in Allah. It says during the time of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, someone approached him and asked him, an atheist who did not believe in God, asked him some question about the existence of Allah. And his question was, where is Allah? You believe that there is Allah, but I cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So where is Allah? Show me, where is Allah? And my second question is, what direction Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at? If he's looking at one direction, he's missing the other direction. Because with our eyes, you can see only towards one direction. You can't see all around. And number three, if you really believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does exist, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing at this time? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah asked someone to bring milk. And he says to this person, do you believe that there is cream in the milk? Yes. Where is the cream? I can't see it. Show me. He says it's all over. And then there is a way, if you just go, if you make the milk go through that process, then you can get the cream out of it. So he said, so the cream does exist in the milk? He said, yes. Where is it? All over. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the milk, He created the cream, and He can create such a cream that can be all over the milk and it still will not be seen. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere and is not seen, what's so difficult about that? As far as your question, what direction Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at, there was a candle there. He says, tell me, what direction does the light of the candle goes to? Of course, the light of the candle is going all around. So he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this light. And He can create this light that the light of it will go all around. Subhanallah, you think the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot go all around and He is able to see everywhere at the same time? And the third question, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing at this time? That person was sitting up on the minbar when he was asking the question. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah said to him, okay, I answered two of your questions. Now you come down, let me sit up here, and then I will answer your third question. So he came down and said, okay, I don't mind coming down. He comes down, Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah goes and sits up, and he said to him, what was your third question? What Allah is doing now? He says, what Allah is doing right now, you could see that is bringing the kafir like you down from the minbar and putting me up on the minbar. This is what He's doing right now. So, which means everything that is happening now is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything that is in existence and that is moving and that is not moving, everything is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Aqeeda in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, existence, believing in the existence of Allah, and number two, believing in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The problem with the kuffar of Quraysh and most of the disbelievers at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was not that they did not believe in the existence of Allah. The problem was they did not believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam is the only deen that stands for this type of belief where we only believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every shape and form. Sometimes the only religion that looks like matching the belief of Islam, the closest would be Judaism. Christianity, we know, it just fell off totally as there are three, that is to start with. There are three gods, or three in one and one in three, something that cannot be explained. So that fall off right there. But Judaism looks like it's something that is very close to this belief of Islam. But still, there are many parts of Aqeeda regarding the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where it falls off. For example, when you look at the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you see that even they started falling off that. Because according to the Bible, it says that Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam is out in the jungle. And he sees someone, and Yaqub alayhi salam starts wrestling with that person. He starts fighting with that person. This is a prophet of Allah. He's fighting with that man. And finally, Yaqub alayhi salam wrestled the person down. And only then he finds out the person that he was fighting all of this time and he wrestled him down was God. Here you see where the concept of oneness of Allah in His sifat, in His qudra, in His power, just falls off. That there is someone who's stronger than God.